Welcome on back, everyone, for another wonderful halftime show here as we are right in the middle of our final series of Stream B. As Gabby said, as we were leaving, my goodness, I can't believe we're already here. TSM Academy versus TLA Academy. We have another episode of Yordle here for this one. So we're going to bring on our contestants. I'll go ahead and explain the rules a little bit here, but it's hopefully going to be a fun one. Mark Z and Gabby, the Tigress, come on in. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for humoring me with this one. And I want to break down the rules a little bit here for you. All right. You got 5 guesses. Five of them. Each guess, it is a word of some sort that has something to do with this last series, but it's just general words. You will go ahead and guess one time. We'll put the word up on the screen. If you have the letter in the correct place, it'll be green. If you have the letter correctly but not in the right place, it'll be yellow. If not the wrong letter, it'll be the gray screen there. And obviously, this is the most original format, right?
I'm surprised someone hasn't thought of this before.
First time.
Totally.
It's kind of crazy. You'd think a big posting publisher would be able to
what, buy something original?
Even if people out in the audience are like, yeah, I totally know how this works. Listen, I had to have Mazel explain to me how this game works because if you don't know, I completely went off the internet when Wordle became a thing and came back, and all of a sudden people are just posting little squares on Twitter, and I had no idea what it means. So yeah, secret language, secret coded stuff going around. So I am excited to decode and play for the first time ever a game like this, actually.
It's going to be a fun one. All right, so let's go ahead and bring up the graphic then and see what we got for ourselves as we will go ahead and get your guys' first guess. Now, you did tell me you want to collaborate, so I'll give you about 30 seconds here to deliberate amongst yourselves, and we'll see what you guys want to lock.
You just say a letter, right?
No, you say a word.
Oh, the full word. Okay.
Yeah, all right. The first word we'll do is adieu. It's kind of a cheat code because it has a bunch of vowels in it.
Ah. This is why we
cheater. All right, will you spell that for
Well, I would
production?
hope that they know how to spell adieu because I don't. I think it's A-U-D-I...
Hopefully.
E or A-E...
I believe it is A-D-I-E-U.
Do. Yeah, A-D-I-E-U.
Boom.
I was right. Sweet. All right, production. We're going to lock in adieu for the first word of the guess. We'll see how many of those are in the right place.
Okay.
Ooh, just the E. And it's not in the right place, but it is the right letter.
Ooh, Ayla? Wait, that's not. That's four.
Okay. Well, it's also just not league related. He said,
yeah,
really.
But he said maybe something related to last.
Yeah, so it's just words.
Know.
I don't think you put a. It's mostly normal words.
All right.
Like, I mean, I'm bad at word games, so these usually take a while. So 30 seconds.
Which is a perfect for this moment. I love it. We get to see the gears
they put me
turn.
on screen to watch me stare vacantly at nothing. That's good.
Yes. So we'll go on to the second guess. Then, do you guys have anything with that E? Do you have any letters that spring out to
Ender?
you? That might have an E. I mean, there's a lot of letters that have E's.
Yeah, that's the right number.
Sure, let's do Ender.
And I guess that's a person
I like it.
too,
I like it as much as anything else.
Ender. All right, we're locking in Ender for the second one. E-N-D-E-R.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see if that works. Hey, you're moving on up. All right, you're moving on up. We got the R in there now as well.
So there's no D's in anything then,
there's
right?
No D's.
So all of that.
There's no A's,
there's
I's,
no
or
D's.
U's.
There's only one E.
So maybe there's something with an O. I feel like it would be very weird for.
I'm just so bad at saying R-O something.
It's so funny that obviously I'm cheating. I know the word, but like I love it because you guys are like hovering around so well. Why would I do that, Mark? Why would I do that? This is more fun for me.
What about overt?
Ooh,
overt.
All right.
Yeah. Gabby can think of five letter words, so she should just do all of it because I can't do that.
So we're gonna lock in overt as the third guess or fourth. I don't remember which one we're on anymore at this point. But we'll see if that one is gonna be possibly unlocking.
R's in the right
What's the third
spot.
one? Look at that! And you got an O.
Oh, that's also not overt, but it works. Overt.
But it works.
Overt turned out more useful than overt.
It really did, though. It really did. All right, so you're working with a little bit of extra. We gave you that give
because it's 6
you
guesses
wanted,
just
Mark.
to get the one word then, right? It's just the one we're trying to find. All right, so we know.
Yep.
There's an
So you got 2 more
O
guesses.
and E and R.
R is in the middle.
R.
And R is in the middle.
Board?
Wait. Oh, like
wait, no, we have D already, not
Yeah.
board.
Oh yeah, there's wait.
We've already tried D. B-O-R-E. Does that spell anything else? Can we slap any other?
You just make up a word. Just throw it in there. That's what Magical has been doing every time we've done this. His first word is like Xexes or something. It's like X-E-X-Y-Z.
That just sounds like a bad idea. But
like, okay.
You do you.
What has an R in the middle with an O and an E in it?
Board. I'm just gonna start saying things, and if anything, board, lord.
It has something to do with the last series.
Roared. All these have other vowels in them. I'm just saying stuff.
Oh, there's no D, so it's not here.
All right. I feel like if I give you a hint, though, it's just gonna give it away. I want to give you. Okay,
How would you give us a hint
for
now?
the last one,
Because we're not
this one. All right, fine. All right, it has something to do with one of the teams from last game.
Team Liquid or TSM? Well, it can't be TSM because TSM means literally nothing. So I'm gonna lean towards Liquid.
So.
Okay.
Horse.
Okay, you're
maybe?
getting close. You're getting close.
Because Team Liquid.
Horses. I like horse a lot.
Yeah,
I like horse a lot.
I hear it in your voice, Mike. Let's go ahead and lock in a horse for the 4th guess. Could it possibly be? We'll find out very soon.
Gabby's
on the next episode of.
Horse, is it?
And let's go hit that enter button and see what we got. Oh no, it's gone. Oh, it's gone. You won. You did it. The answer was horse. The answer was horse. See, you didn't even need the last guess. You didn't need.
I contributed.
Yeah.
Good job. You contributed very well. Thank you guys for humoring me. The word was horse because no matter which way you look at it, a strong horse, a dark horse, whatever it is, Team Liquid are thriving.
Gift horse.
They are looking good.
Trojan
especially
horse.
in that first game. Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to include for horses.
Yeah.
There is a lot of horse stuff. I should know as I've been spending a lot of time on the range.
I hope those boots are treating you well.
It was, yeah. Thank you, by the way, Gabby. But in all actuality, I do want to break down that game a little bit. Thank you guys for joining me for Yordle. But it was a very interesting one, to say the least. I would say back and forth is the word. I don't even know what to say at the end of that game because Team Liquid all of a sudden, like halfway through, just took control.
I blame myself because I felt like TL was in control. TSM hadn't done what was necessary to win the game, but they were hanging in there. And then right when I was hyping them up for finding like decent plays from behind, they kind of made an oopsie and tried to kill a Volibear with a stopwatch and then kind of handed the game over. But I would say I'm still like relatively impressed with TSM.
Yeah, I think it's that classic case. At TL, they had a lot of proactivity in the early game. They were doing things with it. TSM, holding in there, saying the advantages aren't too big, even pick up the first Drake, keeping the lanes fairly even, and then just weren't able to get into the position to comfortably scale, just being pushed in and having a lot of dead time that was difficult to traverse later on. But still a lot of positives, I think, that they can look at going into Proving Grounds later. They are on the come up. They're starting to learn a lot more of what their strengths are and being able to identify them in games like this.
I will say the other word I was thinking of was comfy, because seeing Bradley play Akali and the dirty things that he did in that game is just not, like, I don't even know if we were allowed to show that on screen. But it really is nice to see this guy going into the top lane, still using some of his bread and butter picks to dominate the opposition at least. But we'll have to see. Maybe he gets that comfiness again. Maybe TSM get a little comfiness. Maybe we'll finally get the Viper Riven. Oh my goodness, it's the last game of the season. Please, please, please. Camp Select is ready though, and it's into our last game. of the Academy split here on the Stream B. So Mark Z, Gabby, bring us a good
See
one
you
and
later,
have fun with it.
Mazel. Wallow in those emotions, all the wonderful memories of Academy of this year. It has been a wild ride, that is for sure. And super stoked, Mark, to be with you here to close it out on this stream. Of course, there are still matches going on the other stream as well.
I don't know if there's any tiebreakers if it's been updated, but those people might be in for a long day.
Yeah, maybe. I know a lot of the tiebreaker scenarios got shot down in the very beginning of the day, but no idea how many more there are to go. But we'll see.
Yep.
Coming into game number 2, Team Liquid, TSM, pretty secure in their standings and where they are going into Proving Grounds.
One thing I wanted to hit on that Mazel was saying right before he tossed was about Bradley's Akali and how clean it is. One thing I love watching him do is a lot of people kind of try and snipe with the E because it has a decent sized range, but Bradley constantly used his R1 to move closer to land like a point blank E. I thought that was really intelligent, just watching like the mastery of the champion to guarantee that part of the kit, land that, and like just all of it worked so well together. You can clearly see that this is a very dangerous champion, and we talked about Viper blinding the Camille. I think that ended up backfiring a little bit.
I mean, Bradley overall has been doing pretty well from that top lane position. Akali being the second most played, something in his arsenal, and really leaning into that firepower and the dueling. And it's just really fun to watch when going against Viper as well, because Viper likes to take a lot of duels and really likes to scrap it out in the top lane. So when you're going against somebody that enjoys holding it down in the same fashion, then I feel like you can spend the whole time just watching their lane and having a good old time as a viewer.
Yep, definitely could be the case. This time around, though, it's the TL priority, or the Rise priority continue to go up. I feel like, I wonder if this is going to spill over to other regions. Maybe it already has, and I've just been, like I said, blind to it. But I feel like in the LCS, at least, there's not nearly been this priority on the champion. And I always feel like the Academy scene, the amateur scene, is a little bit ahead of the meta. People are willing to take the risks earlier on. Champions, and not just because, oh, they play a couple days earlier in the week, but I mean, like, legitimately, trends that start appearing here will be here a week or two before LCS sometimes.
It's true. Even thinking earlier to King and Isles when mentioning them last year during their laning and a lot of the bot lanes that they brought through, that Cloud9 squad did set a lot of the trends, and a lot of the other teams in Academy doing the same thing. So like to still continue to see it. And yeah, there was the hover there for Renata Glass for a moment. It was actually played in Academy. I know Diamond at least played a game of the pick, but I don't think that we will be seeing that come through, at least on this stream for the day.
Well, who knows? You never want to count it out. There's always the chance.
What if I'm trying to cast or curse it, Mark, so that does come?
Yeah, it's definitely not getting picked. No way. They're picking that dog water champion.
No,
absolutely not.
Exactly.
I both respect and dislike TL's decision to be tryhards on the last game of the split before Proving Ground. Taking the Rise Volibear again, they think it's really strong. They even have the Aphelios. I believe they had that last game as well. So it's almost the exact same comp out of them. Running it, getting as much practice as they can on stage. Taskmaster coach Spawn, making sure they don't have any fun before school's out.
They're at one of the Catholic schools with the rulers, you know?
Yeah, you get wrapped on your knuckles.
Yeah. I went to a preschool like that, but I didn't understand anything they were saying because it was in Italy and I didn't speak the language.
Oh, that sounds fair. I went to a Catholic school and they didn't do that to me. So, I'm sorry.
I mean, it was good times. I just remember seeing pictures and being like, oh, this looks really intense. But, you know, I like the intensity that Spawn brings. I'm sure all good times too. Already mentioned that he's always hyping up all these individual players, and because of how much they have popped off, and you know, Zeri getting banned against TL, right? Yon being the first one to have that big old clip that was circulating the internet sphere, just showing the potential, and not gonna get to pick the pick this time. Still sticking with the Volibear, still sticking with the picks, and it's Kaiduo on the LeBlanc, a bit more bursty assassin this time.
Exactly what I was hoping to see him on too. I think he plays a very nice Corki. He plays a great Corki, but it feels like a lot of times the team as a whole and this isn't his fault, but the team as a whole falls behind the early game a little bit, and it's mostly about surviving other teams' more aggressive things. And I think seeing how the Rise Volley Bear combos together, I'm excited, one, individually to see Kaido on a more mechanical champion, especially combo with the Xin Zhao, where they might actually be able to try and win some trades, but also to see how TSM Academy plays when they have a more aggressive mid laner champion locked in.
And as far as what's accompanying the mid laner, Hyper on the Xin Zhao, most picked thus far in spring. Very comfortable, something that a lot of junglers have been sticking with for quite some time at this point. And we will see how it works with the rest of what they bring through. Lulu, Ayla, really strong Lulu, actually, and a lot of fun to watch.
Yep, it was basically his second most played behind the Thresh. He's an absolutely monstrous Thresh, and the LCS got banned out a lot of times. People went, all right, and then we gotta get rid of that one, and kind of fell back into the Lulu most often after that. Hasn't played it as much in Academy. Things like TK and Karma a little bit more has been seen, but back on it here. The Gragas locked in as well, just some frontline. Really boring front to back team comp. You get an F out of me for this draft spawn, even though it's perfectly fine. And a Corki top?
If anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be Viper, right?
People have talked about Corki top before. It's not a super strong laner, but every marksman over tank melee matchups can oftentimes survive or outright win them, even if you are a more scaling oriented marksman like Corki is technically. And so people have used that to greed out some matchups before. You've seen a lot of marksmen in the top lane. I've heard whispers of the Corki top. I guess Gragas is the matchup that you look to take it in. Probably start Cull and just farm your face off, and the Gragas can kind of poke you, but you can probably sustain through it with like Corrupting Pot or Biscuits or whatever. So looks like Viper going, at least they're having fun. At least TSM's having fun, saving us from TL's boringness.
Yeah, so bringing out the Corki top, third time for Viper to do so. I mean, he really has leaned into the marksman a lot during this season. You know, the Lucian here and there, even some Vayne top action. And we talk about the fact that he's been diversifying his champ pool over time, but it's not just in the traditional way of a top laner. It's a, all right, let's have fun watching this and seeing how things go. And now bringing against TLA in the last game of the Academy season for TSM Academy and Team Liquid Academy.
Yep, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they go.
Cat is too?
No, he's really excited about some candle on those shelves I just put up. And that's not good. I don't know if they can bear his weight. He's a little chunky boy recently. You're getting too much food. Anyways, this draft, I like to see TSM contest this a lot more. The Thresh as well. We talked about, obviously, the mid-jungle a little bit with the LeBlanc and Xin Zhao, but the Thresh with the Jinx, I think, will give them a little bit more contest as well, even with the Lulu helping get priority in the bot lane for Team Liquid. You still have a lot more playmaking there, and so Hyper can kind of go to any lane except top. And even top, if the Gragas is like playing aggro to try and punish the Corki, I feel like you're fine.
I definitely want to see how Viper's Corki does later on into the game. Yawn. Right? Walking by instinct saying, oh no, oh no. Doesn't want to use any summoners. So right now, first blood achieved before minute number 1 in TSM's favor.
Well, that's a good start to the game for TSM. A free first blood onto Kaido. Gets to get the recall off as well. It was early enough that he's not going to get punished. He's going to catch right back up to that minion wave. Gets a Doran's ring, I think he got off that. Maybe it was the Corrupting Pot, but now he's going to be way stronger than ours in the early game. That's a huge first blood given away. Did cost him his flash, but LeBlanc, once she gets her W, will be relatively safe anyways. I think most mid laners would be very happy to get a free first blood for the wave at the cost of a flash.
Definitely. Flash will be up in no time when it happens that early. A little bit more power in the pocket. And then Yan stepping on up. Yurson right now brought down low, which forces Instinct to use the heal right now just to keep him alive and healthy and in the lane, even popping a pot or two to keep him in it.
Yep, gonna just sustain right there. Give up the level 1, like I said, depending on how the trade goes. It's understandable to have to give that one up. Unfortunately, you have to use the heal. So good job by TL's bot lane. Just brush camping now, making it slow push a little bit. We'll see if they try and combo this with the volley bear. They can try and slow push this a lot and give time for Armeo to finish off his red buff and then maybe get down in range to make something happen.
Positioning right there ahead of the wave and stuff to buy that time as much as possible. And Armeo having started over towards that top side, pathing down in that direction. Hyper also in the vicinity over within his jungle, so it's top side that will most likely be left to their lonesome as anticipated in the early stages of this game.
Yeah, nothing to do up there. That's why both junglers start top to bot, want to get down and make something happen. The only problem is it feels like it's going to be hard for TL to do very much with that because Hyper made his way down there. Instead, they're going to go for a invade onto him, try and catch Hyper out somewhere here, but nice defensive ward there. I think it was Hyper who put that down to make sure he spotted any kind of invade coming in.
It allows him to back off in the Wolves' direction without any contest, and even for some of the time of Armeo, his response is to rotate over here towards mid. A nice lockdown onto Kai Duo. That's the answer. 1 kill over to Team Liquid.
Nice job by Armeo, understanding where the problems exist. Harry had gotten chunked out by LeBlanc just being stronger at this point in the game, and so knows he needs to do something to stabilize the mid situation, trades his flash out to make it happen.
Yeah, Hyper wrapping around from this river side, though, and Kaido using the teleport to get in to mean he can land the chains, and then Viper from the top lane gets the final hit onto Harry. So extending this action that much more, and Armeo into some trouble. Gatling right here to finish off. Double kill. Viper in a powerful position right here at the start.
Also gets the red buff there, so that feels really good for TSM. Punishing Team Liquid. They wanted to get that wave in after killing Kaido, but he's able to take the teleport back in. Hyper gets the wraparound gank, and then the priority from the top lane Corki, able to actually roam down. Not what I expected top lane Corki to do in the early game, roam down to mid lane for a 3v2, but hey, if it works, it works, and now he's off to the races as well.
Yeah, you take the advantages where you can, and Viper showing that proactivity of roaming here towards the mid lane really worked out in his favor, and we'll have to see what he ends up doing with this lead that he acquired, bringing that back over towards top. And now Team Liquid a little bit behind right here at the start.
It doesn't, I mean, Corki doesn't feel like a champion that has an easy job spreading its wealth around. There's some champions that when you get ahead and they're snowballing, they kind of go and influence the whole map. Top Corki doesn't feel like that. But at the same time, it can help you start generating a lead for yourself even faster. Can you start taking plates against the Gragas even faster now with this, like most likely? And so it is still something that can snowball. It just won't probably snowball the rest of the map.
So much effectiveness from this Team Liquid bot lane, though, and the pressure that they have offered to get some of this early plating, to really chunk down Instinct and Yursan. Nice sidesteps to avoid the death sentences that are thrown out. And because of that, this is a forced back over for them. So missing out on that opportunity to really offset them there, bot. And right here in mid, though, a little bit of lockdown on the Harry.
Yeah, we'll see if Hyper wants to try and make a dive here, given that Harry has no flash. I just want to say as well for Yon, just auto-spacing the turret, knowing the range in that perfectly, really enabled them to win that trade that hard. It was a mastery right there.
Oh, some more action over here towards mid. Another lockdown from Kaiduo onto Harry, and Hyper's in the vicinity, but with that dragon recently being taken by Team Liquid, it means that they have multiple members as well to create this rotation. Yursan ready to collapse, knock up onto Harry, even under the tower. He did pop the pot, so he's surviving all the while, and Hyper gets rooted, but so low on the HP, just under 100. No lives lost.
Yeah, that was some fancy footwork by multiple members there. Harry dodging out on Hyper's W initially, and then later Hyper kind of going in there and just barely getting out with Lantern. Both teams, you feel hungry for the last win of the regular season for them. Try and make it happen.
So it's TSM with the early gold lead at this point at about 1.3K. Part of that because of those 2 kills that Viper had acquired earlier. And offset, though, by the dragon taken by TL not long ago. Viper's coming back to lane, but it's the blast cone over the wall from Armeo. The collapse from Bradley. The Valkyrie trying to escape here, but the storm from above is enough. The finish off into Bradley's pocket.
Eesh, a bit of a unfortunate handoff there in gold. No vision control. That would have seen that coming over the wall and stuff like that. Like, it's unfortunate for Viper to hand that one back. Still on pace, but you know, I was hoping to see him being able to push up and play to the turret and whatnot, but drops there. And like you said, TSM with their first goal lead I've seen a little bit, but can they hold on to it? That's the question I want to see. If TL start making plays happening and can get control back into this game.
Especially when we haven't even seen the full effect of a lot of their utility that'll become super useful later, like having the Lulu here. You know, once that wild growth is online, and just that extra layer of survivability for your most damage dealing players here for Team Liquid. But TSM, though, should feel good about establishing this lead for themselves and getting farmed up in the lanes. Harry, the continued focus with Hyper just coming right back down from that river side and always having to back up towards this tower from that burn.
Harry's been under pressure this entire game. Lost the flash, or excuse me, lost the first blood to his lane opponent there early on. Had to go up against someone much stronger in lane. Then lots of pressure because people were trying to recover the fact that Kaido had no flash. Made it so that this was a back and forth lane that the junglers keep visiting. And he's doing an okay job navigating it. Does get tagged up a lot of the time, but can sustain up eventually.
Ooh, lock onto Chompers. Might get a bit punished. Yan pretty low, but has Armeo here too. Armeo zoning off Hyper, and right from the mid lane, Kaiduo and Harry have also made their way into the play. Falling more from the Lulu. That makes Hyper the next target. The blast of damage is enough. Ayla gets the kill, credit for that. So Team Liquid getting the single kill in this engage.
Heads up play by Team Liquid, both Armeo and Ayla knowing, okay, Xin ult can't damage him from outside the range, but time to get inside, get melee range on top of him, and they 2v1'd him effectively inside his ultimate by getting inside the range and making sure that their damage could actually connect. Well done there by Team Liquid's bot lane, transferring some of that pressure after really aggressive trading and just getting on top of him first. The stun still comes through even after, and they get in range, I think in time for the Volibear lightning damage to come through. So there's a bit of a concern when you play Volibear against Xin Zhao that Xin ults you away and then your big E chunk doesn't actually do anything. But the fact that the stun still went through after he got knocked back meant that he had time to walk back in range for the lightning damage to come down.
Solid stuff so far here. Some trades and kills, a lot of scrap and looking for these advantages. Blue given over to Kaiduo from Hyper in the jungle so that he can be more effective in clearing over towards this mid side, especially with a lot of the attention being paid. We highlighted the fact that Hyper and Kaiduo coming online in recent games, with Hyper synergizing with Yerson and Kaiduo stepping up from that solo lane position, have led to a lot of TSM's recent success. And even if you're looking into earlier in the year when Team Liquid and TSM faced off, they did technically trade victories in their best of two. So I know TSM are hoping to do so again here today.
They're in a better spot than they were in the previous game to do that. That was a cute little ward interaction where both people have pink wards in, both people walk up to the wall, both people throw wards at the same time. And they both instantly get cleared again. Both teams trying to play around vision control in the bot lane. It feels like the most volatile spot right now, that in mid lane. Top lane, like we said, is an island. It's going well for Viper, big CS lead. Mid lane has mostly stabilized, though you can see Kaido understands he wants to be keep Wing forward, keep playing aggressive, keep trying to land chains. And then for TL, their power points in the bot lane, and Armeo keeps trying to find avenues in there.
Bot wave pushed up in Team Liquid's favor, and then some evening out over of that mid wave, which is why TL can position over towards the second dragon. It would be an opportunity to start stacking this nice and early. And TSM don't have really much vision around here. A couple sweepers available to them, but they're already popping them now. Viper will be coming through with that package and can have a heavy impact if he can get there in time. But look at the route into the polymorph, into the smackdown from Armeo directly on top. And Hyper does escape. In the meantime, it's Armeo that ends up getting...
Dropped his ult. This is the time to go. And Harry dropped the Realm Warp and was like, peace, we got the dragon. Excellent. And they just kind of abandoned Armeo. That looked particularly egregious.
The lonely bear. No friends, no pack. But back to it.
I just mean, like, I assume there's some grievances between Armeo and Ari that was so bad. Like, look at this again. Yeon shoots the ult out. Looks like they want to go in, and then how is the communication? Let's ult out here. Did they think that they couldn't win that 4v4? Maybe that's what it was. But otherwise, I would have, like, I can almost hear the comms in solo queue. Like, that's what my friends and I do to troll each other.
Yeah. But right here, not so much trolling going on. Jan has to flash out, has the wild growth right now to create some of that sustainability in the 2v3, and Armeo is on the way, but notices that Kaido is also lurking over from that mid lane. So just enough to keep them at bay, and nothing in terms of death, but both of the summoners used by Jan and the ultimates.
Yep, trying to wrap back around, but the pink ward in the river spotted them coming, so no tricky play there by TL. They're trying to bait this with Hyper still in range.
A slowdown onto Yursan, and the polymorph is good. Hyper, he's back at it, but burning down. Just one more tick will do it. Ayla too low to get back into the vicinity. Armeo just juggling between two targets, decides to land on Yursan to get the kill, but Instinct's range is good. Good shielding too. Instinct can't poke enough until he gets into the position closest to the turret, but Harry is here. Another stopwatch, great for Armeo, means that he can slam in response. Still manages to die right before they take down Instinct, but it's a kill nonetheless.
TL. Oh, that looked like it was a bad decision at first with Hyper waiting in the brush and able to insta-kill Yon, giving the reset to Instinct. This is initially played so well by TSM, comboing this with the ultimate by Instinct to hit all three people, and then kind of ignoring the volley bear. I think maybe you should have just hit the volley bear the whole time because he was in range, because you see how easy it is to kite the volley bear for the most part. And then what I think TL did really well here was play around their defensive abilities well. The E that came in from Armeo, the stopwatch, the polymorph, the shielding that allowed Harry, who ultimately TP'd on the turret, to run all the way up the lane to get involved for that kill. That was super well played around TL's defensive spell usage.
So much more calm and adjusted that time compared to previously, and now TSM always pressuring over here towards mid, though it is a bit of a different matchup, being that Harry had teleported towards bot and decided to stay there, meaning Jan and Ayla rotating to protect that turret. And TSM, they couldn't quite get the Rift Herald. That's where they were hovering prior, but now getting themselves back into the standard positioning over on the bot side. Viper and Bradley still going at it up here in the top lane.
Yeah, you just feel how frustrated Bradley must be in this game. Like, what can you do? You just kind of throw barrels at him and hope they land, but the whole time you're dodging rockets, you're dodging Foss bombs, getting your wave pushed in. I think he's done a good job navigating the lane. I think the Comet tech made a lot of sense so that you can push back a little bit more in the lane phase, knowing that you're probably going to want Mana Flow Band. I assume he took. Yeah, it looks like he has it in the bottom left corner for the extra like mana spam here. He's trying his darndest, but it still feels a little rough, though. Things are getting a little better for him.
Like, wait, I left mid lane. Why am I facing a Corki? But at least,
because you blind picked Gragas.
Calling upon the Corki to come to you. In the end, we'll have a little bit of time alone there towards top lane to push that wave in a bit. Viper going back. We are past the 14-minute mark, which means that the teleports are officially unleashed and can have that much more of an impact across the entirety of the map. And 40 seconds still on Drake to come. That Rift Herald still waiting to be claimed, which is why Hyper has returned his eyes towards it to try and make a play.
Yep. They don't want to keep playing around this 1-3-1 setup that TL is moving into pretty early. Pre-15 minutes, only bot lane turret dropped. They want the Rise split off. He's 2-1-1, fairly strong. And then your bot lane as well, pretty strong, so they should be able to control that. TL during that time got pretty good vision control, so they're most likely going to be able to get third dragon without too much of a contest out of TSM here. But you know, it is enough of a window that if TSM want to fight this, they can maybe try. But I think they went for that Rift Herald intentionally to sack it, get some more turret or some gold in their pockets to really have a good chance of beating them at the fourth dragon.
That pressure towards top from that range into melee matchup means that Kaido was able to finish off that outer turret, all the while TL spending their time bot to put themselves on Soul Point, and that Rift Herald that was previously acquired by TSM dropped. And because they've got multiple members of TSM here doing their best to just completely clear the turret itself, and not much that Bradley can do about it at that time. So a very clear advantage in one of the lanes here from TSM. A nice death sentence onto the squishiest little Yordle you've seen on this Rift here today means Ayla's taken out.
Ayla getting a little greedy there, trying to finish off a ward clear despite knowing that they were rotating through that jungle. That puts him in a rough position that he's able to get chased down and killed. And TSM now up to a 2,000 gold lead, feeling a lot better. It's not like their comp gets super hard outscaled. I think I would rather have the front line that TL has between the Gragas and the Rise and the Volibear. But you still have the Corki in your back pocket combined with the Jinx, you know, even though the Xin and LeBlanc will fall off, it does still feel like, I don't know if TSM scaling is that bad that they need to worry.
Just some smashing through. Kaido will have the distance to be able to exit from Bradley. But yeah, that is something that you have to think about when it comes to those 5v5s in the fights later on for Team Liquid. Just having a bit more of those beefier champions to be able to hide behind where necessary. So right now, Yursan, yes, you hook onto Armeo, but he is one of the chunkiest members, can slam right back down onto Hyper. Teleports coming in from both sides, but there is a clear dividing line between either of the teams. No flank positioning, no reasoning to continue up on this.
No, that was a well played. A fair amount of restraint there from TSM. Not instantly taking the Lantern, kind of forcing them onto the Thresh, which then gave Hyper the angle. He wasn't able to kill Yon, but I think the way they played that was pretty intelligent. The only unfortunate part is Viper blew his TP to join in with that fight. And if he was able to land another rocket or two, maybe that could have won it, but ends up getting disengaged cleanly by TL, and now you're just down a global.
And back towards top just to farm away, it seems. Harry making his rotation up there as well. Rise can be put in a powerful split pushing position to get some of that clear. And Bradley rotating over down towards the bot side. Hyper's been setting up here, though. It's a very small wave that's being ushered through, but enough to try and take some of this aggro. And Bradley, sensing the play, is on the retreat, throws Hyper away. But with the rest of TSM in the vicinity, even throwing down the box to make sure there is no escape from this jail cell, TSM pick off the kill onto Bradley. Team Liquid decide to trade with some mid and top pressure.
Yeah, there was an attempt by TL to make the same play on the flip side of the map, but Viper did a better job reading that play was coming, backed off the turret completely, and while he doesn't end up protecting either top or mid, he lives. He's able to pick up farm himself, keep farming as the Corki while the Gragas dies, gives a kill over, and ultimately gives Instinct a lot of local turret gold there.
A little delay on the back here, too. Over across mid just from the super mega death rocket, but it's 2 turrets traded for 1 ultimately in the end.
Yon getting trolled a little bit there. It's his own fault for dropping a pink ward to stop them from being able to see the recall, and then recalling in the same spot anyways. I don't know why he exactly chose to do that. Felt a little obstinate, maybe, not wanting to
the mind games.
To do something
they will
else.
think I moved and guess elsewhere.
Or they'll just check the same spot anyways because it's just a Corki rocket. And now he finally gets to base and start picking up his next items. But that does give a nice little window for TSM to secure some vision. A minute on the Dragon. Now they're able to get Baron wards out too to make sure that there's no tricky things going on when they go to contest the 3rd Dragon. Because sometimes you overload preparing for the 4th Dragon, knowing that like we must get this one, and then the enemy team just goes Baron on you.
Yeah, so making sure to spread across. I like it. And also the way that they're moving as a unit, they don't want to make themselves vulnerable to any pickoffs, and really leaning into Yursan with these hooks to try and catch someone out. I mean, that's something that they did to Ayla not that long ago, and while they couldn't get as much off of it, there could be a point in the future where you can get a heavy turn.
Yep, and one thing I didn't criticize when they did it was the Rift Herald usage in the top lane. Did get them a free turret, but I thought it would have been a lot more intelligent to hold it until an opportunity to use it mid lane, break mid turret, which will help you then in this 4th Dragon fight. Now, because they never broke mid lane turret, they have a lot fewer angles to actually get into the river. It would be hard anyways because they probably lose the shove for mid priority, but now they have less room to play with a little bit, but they've still found their way in there.
And on the opposite end of some little damage here, but has that sustain to be able to heal before any additional poke comes through. TSM, they have a lot of their vision more so within the own vicinity of their jungle. They're just stepping up right now. Line of scrimmage very clear between these two teams. Poke war. Bradley making sure to soak up as much of it as possible as one of the ones that can sustain himself through it. Yan finds his target in Kaido, who was going for the flank here. Viper wants to join him, and now starting to tick down onto this Dragon. It's Team Liquid that have the first shots at it. TSM, are they going to go through? There's just so much zoning that happens.
Hyper
in the
stole
end,
it.
it's Hyper that takes it. They continue up on the fight. A stomp down from Arveo to create that distance, and TSM are in pursuit. Can he throw it back? A slap and a stun takes out Instinct. But in the end, the soul was stopped. And Team Liquid are as well.
Soul was stopped. Instinct got a little too excited there, gets himself killed in the chase down sequence. I gotta say it. Oh, gotta pause. Done. Wonder what it's gonna be about. I was gonna say that was pretty lucky by TSM to not lose the Soul there, because while they were able to win the fight for a little bit, once they overextended, the fact that TL didn't have Soul here was huge. So Hyper deserves a lot of credit for stealing that. That kind of kept them alive here, because even though they are winning this fight initially, if they overstep against TL when they have Soul here, Instinct is just too far ahead. I really like this turn by Armeo, by the way, the E flash Q stun. Here, imagine the procs that are slowing you down the whole time, chaining between them, dealing extra damage, probably killing Kaido there. Like, that Soul steal not only delays them losing the game for a little bit, but definitely because it also stopped a Baron potentially if the Soul went over.
This was a situation where, yes, TSM were finding these minor advantages, but it felt like Team Liquid were starting to get a complete hold between the dragons that they had previously stacked up, between having the turret advantage and a lot of just the agency that Armeo on that pick was able to bring to them, but TSM managing to even it out a bit. It does sound like a player restarting their PC to get back into game, so I'm sure we'll get back into it as soon as that's all sorted.
Yep, we'll get in there. And I think this is an interesting game to me because TSM has been in the driver's seat for most of it, but TL has felt not out and at some points even in control. I think with TSM having the gold lead, I believe almost the entire game, it's surprising at times when it feels difficult for them to be the ones controlling the dragon. They have a gold lead right now as well, even in this game. It's not substantial, but it's not like they're a comp that shouldn't be strong at this point in the game. 22 minutes in, you have a 2-item Jinx, you have a Thresh, Xin, and LeBlanc. That's extremely early game oriented. And Viper was on his core items for the most part. He has his Muramana completed, it's upgraded, and he also has his Luden. So the poke was good there. The fact that they were struggling to control the objective is a bit of a concern going forward from here.
A lot of it came down to just some of the zoning from Team Liquid side, a lot of the barrels that Bradley was throwing down and the like, and then just knowing their champions really well, it felt like even pointing to Armeo turning a bit there in the end to kill off Instinct, right? So you have to be wary of that when it comes to these players and the champions that they're piloting. But yeah, TSM right off the start, they had so much energy infused into them, even from that initial first blood so quickly, and able to snowball that into some energy. You know, Viper getting those 2 kills when he made his way down towards mid, then can really accelerate him getting to this point of being able to poke effectively. Kaido, you see as well with his build, having so much more of an impact in the burn down. You know, Ayla being very vulnerable. So still a lot that TSM can work into.
I think so. I think they're maybe struggling with some of the differences of how their team comps are usually built. The fact that Kaido on the LeBlanc was not really in a flank position. He kind of got shoved out of one by, it was Yan actually. And he was doing what a LeBlanc wanted to do initially. But then there was a moment where Yan blew his ultimate in Q and an auto attack and chunked him to half HP. And then Viper packaged across the entire thing to cut off a potential chase by Bradley or by Yan, but it's like, it's a LeBlanc. She's fine. You should just let her reestablish her position there, let her pop a corrupting pot or 2, and then go back into that flank. You got an ult for free effectively. I think there's like little moments like that TSM isn't navigating as well as maybe they could, and that's why it's a struggle to control it. Because once the package is down for Viper, that's a huge threat that's gone. Maybe it was timing out as well anyway, so he just kind of dropped it, but definitely felt like there are some kinks to work out. And fortunately, they bought themselves another dragon fight to, figure out how to navigate those situations.
And there is a fairly big difference between facing off against a soul achieved from your opposition, even if you have a little bit of a gold lead, versus the scenario that they face now, where they could step the brakes just a little bit going into this. So with that considered, then Mark, like, who are you feeling right now at this point in time? Do you think that TSM have done enough with the comp that they have that can get these leads and have early control, or is Team Liquid the ones that are going to come through?
I feel like TSM are in a better spot. I feel like their comp should do well from here, but I also feel like TL is a little higher in the standings, so you can kind of expect them to play better. I think it's actually a very close game. It's very hard to predict right now because even things like the Gragas Engage doesn't have that many easy targets. LeBlanc's very mobile. Corky's very mobile. You have Thresh Lantern if they're not able to insta-give them immediately following up with the chain CC from the Volibear or the Rise. Like, there are a lot of tools in TSM's draft to kind of deal with Team Liquid's being relatively short range aside for the Aphelios, for example.
Well, we'll see if they can capitalize upon those advantages, keep a steady head going into the rest of the game to bring this best of 2 to a 1-1 finish, or if Team Liquid will come out on top. And TSM, what they're focusing right now, most of them hovering right around this mid position, standing on a bunch of control wards as well, so that they know that Team Liquid are a little under shadow.
Yeah, but nice pressure a little bit there. And this is why I wish that they had dropped that mid lane turret. It just gives you more room to push things in and force them to walk into you a little bit further away. Yon is relatively safe there. As Harry, whoa,
Ooh.
didn't have a great location to ult to. Even though he's level 14, you still aren't putting points in your ult. So that's a rank 1 Rise ult and can't really get from top lane to mid lane or anything like that from that position. Best he could do is a red pit. Lost his flash there as a result.
TSM want to punish that, but TL moving this wave up towards mid. Again, yeah, that mid turret was never quite knocked down for TSM, so not as much opportunity for them to control that area. Team Liquid, on the other hand, Kaido here towards the top side, does know that his jungler is in the vicinity alongside the rest of the team, but might have to be careful. Bradley and the suit.
Alrighty, Kaido kind of caught out by Bradley here. The rest of TL is collapsing.
Yeah, Blast Cone used to try and get close as well. All right, explosive cast used, actually bait all of that out. So Bradley throwing down his ultimate there, and then Kaido gets away, did have to use a flash prior. In the end, Team Liquid was pushing over towards this mid side, so they got the tier 1 and the tier 2.
Yeah, this is what I was about to say, is it was quite the commitment for a LeBlanc in the side lane, and you get her flash, but I think that's a great trade for TSM. Finally breaks those mid lane turrets that I was worried if they would be able to get against the bot lane of Team Liquid. Now those are both gone. If you do set up around this Baron or for the next dragon, and Corky's already grouped, Corky does not want to split push, so you can expect Viper to already be with TSM at those points, then that'll be a very annoying Corky that they're going to have to try and walk through and make happen.
Let's talk about walking through, but see if Armeo wants to run at anyone right now, really just scouting out the information as much as possible. But yeah, it wasn't that long ago we saw Viper just pushing up the side lane, but yep, now joining the team where you can expect him to be. Still a minute and 20 seconds on the clock before the next dragon spawns here, and that Baron has still been up all the while. So really just kind of wrestling over that vision control. Viper back over towards top with Yursan. So again, continuing to have that assistance from the rest of the team on his travels now.
Yeah, I think that was just a quick little look by TSM, hopefully. There's a minute before Dragon, so at some point Yursan needs to get his butt down there and start doing vision control around that. You see TL already focusing on that part of the map, all those assist me pings, all the blue wards going down. This is a strange investment to me to have Yursan topside still with this Dragon coming up and how important it is for TSM to be here. And like I said, forcing them into the Corky. That top lane priority is really not that important, given that it's not like Bradley's going to go split push and end the game top.
All right, so it's Team Liquid Academy first to the scene over towards that dragon side. 30 seconds on the clock. They've got Scuttle secured, and instead of waiting all the while, want to seek out that intel of where TSM currently hover, knowing that they'll probably be making the rotation towards that bot side soon enough. Teleport coming down. Bradley seeing it out a little bit, throws a barrel. Kaido is here. And we might get a fight soon enough because Harry is also nearby, being able to make his rotation. A second teleport coming through, root directly onto Bradley, throws out the explosive cast, and he gets one knockup. But Hyper still in it, still polymorph though. Viper throwing the package right across all the way, and Bradley is very heavily chunked down and now going over the wall, separated from the rest of the team. Team Liquid now funneled over into this tri-bush, and there's vision acquired by TSM, so they don't even have to pursue this. They chunk them down enough to push them off and go for this dragon, bringing it 2 stacks for themselves and another soul denied.
TSM are back in control of this game. Their second dragon locked up, going to be able to move up to the Baron to grab this one as well. But my God, Team Liquid missed literally every part of their engage there and made it the freest fight for TSM, who did a good job punishing following that blunder out of TL. We'll see if Armeo can actually get in range here. He still has flash technically, but it's hard to make his way in there.
Oh, right on the blast, taking out Armeo, Root, and more onto Bradley. TSM zoning off the remainder of Team Liquid from this means that that Baron is theirs, and they can put in some work with it.
Yeah, that's exactly why I like having TSM set up beforehand. You face check a LeBlanc, you face check a Corki, you face check a Thresh, you're dead. So I really like seeing them, Kaido brush camping there, knowing the objective of stopping Armeo from getting in range for a smite contest. And here's this engage. Missed E, panic flash on top of a Root, Grog Assault misses, Yon ults misses. At this point, the fight's over already. Like, when your front line missed literally every button that he presses and your other backup engage from Ayla missed his, the only thing left is Armeo's ult, and he knows he's not worth going in there. So that was just an absolute disaster of a team fight for Team Liquid. And at this point in the game, it might be a little too late for them. Outscaled, down about 6,000 gold, and up against a Baroned up TSM.
And TSM recognized this advantage as well, not just in the sense of getting the Baron and what you can earn with that, but the way that they responded to knowing that Team Liquid were out of that fight, even when they didn't kill all of them off. So the tier 2 goes down for them here in the bottom side. Team Liquid forced to respond with the entirety of their team hovering down here as well. And Kaido ushering up that wave towards mid so they can have multi-lane pressure, but collapse on the fight if needed. Kaido starts to get a little bit of a lockup, but here LeBlanc, so it's okay. Backing off from this one. Hyper and the team still pushing this wave forward.
Yeah, grouped up, it's very hard for TL to do anything. There's so much poke damage from this Corki. They're trying to chunk him out. Nice little combo there by Area, gets him to half HP, but the turret has also been dropped to half HP because of Instinct.
Even some of these roots, they are landing, but you can't follow up on the damage enough. TSM feeling really good about this push, and they have another wave coming for them not long from now, and still a while on this buff.
Still a while, but they did give TL a window to reset there. We'll see if TL decides to pull the trigger on this. All ults are up.
Who's going to go for it first? The tower's coming down. Kaido, they eliminate Armeo right off the bat, and Yon with a wild growth trying to survive, throws out the Moonlight Vigil on the exit, but Hyper's going through it. When becomes Lightning connects, goes into stasis nonetheless, but the inhibitor, that's the target for TSM. It's all about the objective, and they still have an equal number right now. So they take that and they retreat, feeling pretty good about it.
Hyper steps a little bit too far forward there, but almost made his way out. Also bought the space for Instinct, like you said, finish off that inhibitor, get excited. I like the idea here by our TL wanting to go, but Kaido just stuffs that instantly, blows up Armeo, and then it's an easy chase down from here. You can see them trying to get in range, wanting to finish off Yon, but a nice body block by Bradley, honestly, reading that play, interrupting it, putting Hyper in a bit of a bad position there.
I mean, the way that when you're looking at earlier on where it's just so hard to take down Armeo on the volley, but now that you have the builds more online for a lot of these pieces like Kaido on the LeBlanc, it's a lot more easy for TSM to try and take somebody out of the fight immediately right off the bat and follow through effectively. So lots earned from TSM on that push.
Yeah, TSM in a good spot now. I think they wanted to end the game there. We're not able to do so, and it's a little, you're still on high alert because there's a way that the next dragon fight, TL find a miracle fight. They grab the soul, and so there's 45 seconds before that's up. You see TSM working to get deep vision in here, and we've seen time and time again how hard it is for TL when there is no vision for them. So TSM are going to force TL to walk through this jungle. They're going to eat Corki poke the whole time. LeBlanc poke. Oh, maybe they'll find her.
Root in the lockdown onto Kaido in the mid lane, and the complete follow-up from Team Liquid. They take him out. See if they can do anything about it, though, because there's still 22 seconds to go for this dragon. 45 seconds before Kaido comes back up.
Absolutely monstrous pick for TL there. This is that kind of miracle fight I said that they were hoping to. It's not, Kaido will be dead for this entire situation. I think TSM might have to go here. Otherwise, you're fighting up a sold up Team Liquid for the entire rest of the game. It's a really tough decision whether to flip the game on this 4v5 or just eat the soul loss.
Yeah, Team Liquid on the dragon right now. Super's pushing into the base. It gets burned down, and
he steals it again.
Takes Another dragon. Ayla, Pipe, Brett in the middle of the box, and 2 more members down for Team Liquid. Almost an ace. Harry having to teleport just to get back to the base right now because those supers were still marching all the way through, and he's got 30 seconds until he has another teammate by his side.
Well, that answers my question. You go for the flip because Hyper's got perfect fingers. He steals that game. He steals the soul points, and steals the game, honestly, with how easily they won that fight afterwards.
Oh my goodness. TSM pushing the envelope in game number 2. Harry finally plucked from the pretty head of TLA, and TSM evening it out 1-1. Our final series of Academy.
You gotta feel pretty good.
Yeah.
TSM, it's a 1-for-1, but I think that they looked very competitive with TL. Even in the first game a little bit, that game felt back and forth for a little bit. They were behind the entire time, but it was really one misplay that really hurt them. This time around, they were, again, ahead for most of the time, almost made some mistakes to let TL back in the game, but they were just way better at team fights. They executed their comp so much better, and I think they showed the power of versatility with that Corki top pick. I think that draft was actually really smart to get a better 2v2 in the mid jungle, but not sacrificing their scaling overall to get it, because you saw just how important the Corki was in that last fight.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, having the Corki and the LeBlanc both on your team to be able to blast someone down, that's just so much power that TL were not able to push past in the end. And I mean, you do have to give it to TSM, because some things that we've seen in the past, even earlier on when they were falling into those issues, was, okay, yeah, they get those early advantages, but can always convert it to a win. This time, they did just that. But we have one more break to go to before we get into our interview and the wrap up of the day on this stream. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll see you on the other side.
From the hell still lives so grows heck from the doubt of my mind. From the voice still screaming out why. Didn't do what you done, did you think I was gonna stay quiet? just nothing. Ooh, what are you? People talk loud, I get what they're telling me. I fucked up, but I didn't care of it. Ooh, what a chew. Hey, I gotta say, something's going wrong, and everything's upside down. I'm falling. Hey, I gotta say, I'm always on a run. I'm getting closer to the light. By the time I'm changing my remedy, blowing up, I get sick and tired of this. What a truth. No one talk now, I'm feeling lost on it. Silence is loud, I get it safe from it.
Welcome on back, everyone. We are here for the final interview on Stream B. We've got Hyper joining us from TSM Academy's wonderful comeback win in the series. I just got to ask, first of all, Hyper, finishing the season, albeit a very tough season for you guys, but on a strong note against one of the top teams at Academy. Tell me how you're feeling right now.
It feels kind of bad ending last place, but I think we're playing better, so it's fine.
Hey, that's the thing, though. You still got PG, you still got tons of things to look forward to. But I want to check in on you as a player, Hyper. You for this season. How has it been for you? Do you feel like you've made growth? Do you feel like you've had leaps and bounds, at least in terms of your own personal development?
Yeah, for sure. Because at the start of the split, I was playing like really bad, and now I think I'm playing pretty okay. So yeah,
Pretty okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, the bar is gonna need to be a little higher for sure. So looking forward for yourself, for the team itself. How do you feel about Proving Grounds? Do you have anything on your mind right now as, you know, Academy regular season is just now ending?
Our first step is just not to lose to the amateur team,
Got to make
and
it
we're
through a
just gonna
best
try our
of
best.
three, man.
Yeah, we're just gonna try our best to
So
win.
coming into this super week, right? It is 3 days of games back to back to finish off the split. How was the team feeling mentally and in terms of preparation coming into the season or into the week rather?
I think we came in with like good mental because the first two teams weren't that good, and the third TL, they're probably the best, and we just scaled those games.
It's all important now in the meta as well. It feels like it always goes to scaling. Now, I will ask a bit of a topsy-turvy season for TSM, a lot of ins and outs in terms of bringing in new people, switching people out, subbing people. Do you feel like you guys have kind of had a decent structure besides that, right? Like, especially you and Viper in the top side of the map. Do you feel like you found some kind of comfort there?
Wait, what was the question?
Even though with like all the crazy changes in TSM Academy this split, right, and like
Yeah.
everything going on with the subs and all that, you
Midlane?
and Viper have
Midlane's
stayed
fun.
constant in the top side. Do you feel confident in
Yeah.
that, comfortable in that?
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Do you
Yeah.
have anything else you want to say about your fellow topsider of the map?
Thanks for carrying me these last 2 weeks. We're playing better.
I like it. All right, give some good shout outs to Viper. Well, Hyper, I want to give you one last little bit and couple things before we let you go. First of all, what has been your proudest or fondest memory of the split so far?
Uh, Let me think. Probably the Viego Baron, Dragon Steel versus 100 Thieves. But we still lost again.
Yes. All right, all right. Hey, that's a good memory to have. You better make sure to go get that clip for yourself. I want to give you the stage
I
here,
already have
last
it.
little bit. Last interview for TSM Academy of the spring split for Academy itself. What do you have to say? War Machine Hyper fans, TSM Academy fans, do you have anything you want to tell them?
Thanks for supporting us, even though we played like garbage in the first half. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, All right, I appreciate
Yeah.
it, man. Thank you so much for joining me, Hyper. It was good to see your face on screen. And make sure to get ready for PG, all right?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.